One of my favorite mystery authors is the Canadian writer Louise Penny and her Inspector Armand Gamache series. It's one of my favorites. I try to read or listen to the entire series every year because there are so many thoughtful lessons that I discover. I recently finished listening to a book, the second book in her series, called A Fatal Grace. And a running thought throughout was the discussion or interplay of the phrases be calm and be still. And I started back at the teaching studio this week after a short break, and the schedule has been really packed. Yet the students seem much more relaxed. They are not having that hectic school schedule and after school activities. And it's allowed them to slow down a little bit and then add a few more relaxing activities like swimming or going to the park or the zoo and the library. So one of my highly energetic little students asked me yesterday if she could do the breathing thing at her lesson. And she's referring to the box breathing technique where you breathe slowly in for a count of 4, and then you hold it for 4, and then you slowly release it over a count of 6. And I first tried that breathing technique with her about her second lesson or so because this very young child was so highly energetic, she just had very little ability to focus. And we've done it a few more times because she keeps asking if we could do it. And I wanted to share that technique with you because it is pretty fascinating what happens when you do it. The room feels completely different when we do the exercise. It's like the air completely stops moving. We feel, we hear all sorts of things that are happening around us. Of course, music is vibrating air, so we even feel the music in a totally different way. I'm going to share a quote from Kafka. I'll read it to you. It sets out our experience with this created calm. You do not need to leave the room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen. Simply wait. Be quite still and solitary, and the world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. These are powerful words. And actually, that is the description of what happens to us while we were there. So I suggest trying that little breathing technique. Breathe in for 4, hold your breath for 4, and then slowly release your breath for an exhale of a count of 6. And then notice the calmness that you experience. If you have an animal near you at the time, notice how it responds to you, the difference. So here are some thoughts you can explore in your journal after you've done the breathing exercise. What sounds do you now hear? What parts of your body do you find have relaxed? I have a tendency to relax my shoulders. There's an inner core relaxing. For me, it may be something totally different for you. I also relax parts of my face. And then the third question I suggest is, what thoughts are now visible to your mind? So share your experience in the comments below and subscribe if you would like to continue joining us on our journaling journey.